If you want to learn copywriting, maybe you're just starting out or you've been learning copywriting for some time, then this is exactly how I learned copywriting from complete scratch. How I went from being completely clueless, struggling to put words on a screen, and not knowing how copywriting worked to now knowing exactly how to write words on a screen that actually convert and make money at the same time and get clients. This is going to be an interview that I've done with Matthew Volkwyn, who's going to be the host, asking me some questions about me and how I learned copywriting. I'm going to be sharing you the same strategies that I've learned and used to learn copywriting from scratch without paying for a course, so you can just take it away and copy me for yourself. I'm also going to be sharing the number one thing that every copywriter needs to survive in the game and actually be successful, and how I've become successful. We're also going to be talking about controversial topics and the most asked questions that copywriters generally have, like, is copywriting saturated? How do you get clients in this day and age? What's the easiest way to learn copywriting? And all this stuff. Thank you so much to Matthew Volkwyn, who interviewed me. This is awesome. It's an amazing opportunity and I'm very grateful for it. And so I'll stop yapping. Let's get into the interview.
All right, so today I'm here with a special guest. We're here with Alicia. Alicia, you've been in the game seriously since the beginning of 2024, and you've already closed a 3K client, and you figured out a lot of this stuff by yourself. It's really impressive. I'd love to know like how you got into it and how you figured it out.
Yeah, so how I got into the whole, I guess my journey from the beginning of when I started entrepreneurship, I guess you could say, from until now, it never started off as copywriting, which is funny. It actually developed into copywriting. But it was just doing hoodies and stuff, and I was selling this like design thing that I did. And then it wasn't like very good money. So then I went into doing an agency, and that's when the whole marketing journey, I guess, started to like kick off. And I started getting really interested into copywriting because I was writing a lot of ads for people. I was doing a lot of their marketing, and then I failed a lot in the beginning. I didn't know what I was doing, if I'm really honest with you. I did struggle a lot of trial and error, but I figured it out. And I guess you could say at the beginning of 2024, I've only properly just started to take copywriting really, really seriously, because I've realized from getting results for my clients that not just that as well, but just you can actually get results with just words. And I don't know, it really baffles me, you know. But yeah,
that's interesting. Yeah, I had a couple of interesting, I guess you could say, startup attempts when I was in my teens. I had a ping pong business. So when I was like, also 14 or 15, I saved up to buy this ping pong table, with my buddy, because I couldn't afford it. So like we split it and we bought a secondhand ping pong table, and we took it to this local farmer's market because there were kids there. And we're like, these kids are just sitting on the hill. They're not doing anything. Their parents are like eating food. Let's set up a little ping pong stand, and people pay, I don't know what it is in US dollars, maybe like 20 cents or 30 cents to play like a couple rounds or something like that. And it didn't do too well because it started raining and the ping pong table got damaged. It got damaged like pretty quickly. But that was the first attempt.
Sad. Yeah.
The second attempt was it was like a Minecraft server, because I was like 16. I was playing Minecraft, and I was like, all right, we're gonna build a Minecraft server, because back then it was like the big thing. There were people making people were making millions of dollars from that, you know. And I was like, okay, we're gonna build Minecraft server, and so we tried that for a while. Yeah. And then I tried a couple other things as well, but I remember that those little things, you know, from the very beginning, I'd always been trying to figure out something, and then copywriting was the thing that clicked, because it was like all these businesses have products, and you can actually sell, you know, their product. You don't have to have your own product. You can sell their product, and they're going to pay you serious money, you know.
Yeah,
it's cool.
For doing it. That's funny as well. Because as soon as I started getting results for my clients, like in the early days, obviously, and I started getting them like leads and calls, and like now I have a client who I've generated thousands for, 32K in a single month. I've started to realize that, wow, like you said, you don't sell your own product, you sell someone else's product. And like a lot of business owners, they're not very good at selling, and so it's a problem that needs solving, and so copywriters are here to solve that. So yeah,
I like it. how did you stand out from everybody else? Because look, 2024, I mean, I got into the space 2017.
Yeah.
I took it seriously 2018. It's been a while. When I started, people didn't know what copywriting is. 2024, everybody's heard of copywriting. I think most people are, they're hearing about it. And I mean, you've even built a following on YouTube where you got like 10, 11,000 people already. And I think a lot of those people, they've just discovered copywriting like in the last few years.
There is a lot of people who really want to do copywriting. And obviously, as you just said, that like when you first started, there wasn't a lot of people doing it. And obviously from my channel, I've started seeing like, wow, there's a lot of copywriters here. How do you stand out as a copywriter? And how do you because there's so many people doing copywriting nowadays that it's like, what do you do? Everyone's sending a DM to the same business owner and it's like, what do you do? And for me, it's this one thing. And I see, because I've talked to a lot of copywriters, and you may know yourself that they don't do this one thing. And every time they message me and I'm like, well, this is why I'm not getting clients. And then for me, the thing that helped me stand out was having a personal brand and having that channel. Because let me ask you a question. Let's say I never, ever had any copywriting content on my channel. You probably wouldn't be interviewing me right now. You probably wouldn't even trust me in even copywriting at all. And so it's the same thing. Like, how do you expect your clients to feel the same way? And so that's why with the copywriting content on my channel, it's helped me stand out from a lot of other people because they don't have that content. They don't use their personal brand. And when you do what I've done, showing content, showing myself, showing my expertise, showing that I'm knowledgeable, they trust me. And my clients, they trust in what I write and to get them results because of that. And they just have more confidence. And it's like, you have to ask yourself as a beginner copywriter, are you going to trust someone who's, well, kind of looks a bit like a scam, saying, I'm going to make you loads of money for your business, but I've got no content on my channel and there's nothing about me that you can see? Or someone who's like, well, look, I've got all this content on my channel. I talk all about copywriting on my channel. I'm showing what I've done. I'm showing my work. I'm breaking down my work. I'm showing all of the stuff that I know. You trust more. So for me, the thing that stand me out was the fact that I have the personal brand that people can relate to and trust me. So that.
I love that. I love that a lot. And I think the biggest thing that people don't realize about building trust is trust comes from, I mean, there's a lot of ways to get trust, but first-hand experience of something is always the most powerful. So for example,
100%.
if you tell somebody, let's say, for example, you're referring me to a client, okay? And I'm a copywriter and you refer me. You say, Matthew's really, really good. That client's like, okay, well, I trust Alicia, so I'm more likely to trust Matthew. But if they've already worked with me in the past and they like my work, there's a higher level of trust because it's firsthand. It's like experienced personally. So when somebody sees your content and they consume stuff and they see that you're like living the very skill that you're about to sell them, you don't even need to have this crazy portfolio. I don't know if you've experienced this maybe, because I know that you've got into the space in 2024. So you're not saying on your CV, I've got 5 years of experience. I know copywriters and I've coached copywriters that have 5 years of experience and they still don't have any personal brand. And I would bet you that you have a higher chance of getting the client, even though they have 5 years of experience and have worked with more people than you, just because the client has first-hand experience of the content because they're seeing you like live doing the very thing that you're getting paid for. Whereas those people, it's just somebody else says they're good,
Yeah, agreed. Yeah. So, I was going to say another thing actually. You said about trust and content, right? There's a thing, I'll use an analogy. So when you go on, I guess, a date with someone, I have no experience, but let's say you're going on a date with someone, right? If you've spent like a day with someone and then, you go and ask them, do you want to marry me? You're probably going to be like, hell no, I've known you for like a day, right? Or let alone you've sent them a text message and you're saying, hey, can I marry you? They're going to say no. But the more time you spend with someone, for example, with the content, you watch more of someone's stuff, you've been with someone for a long time, you've consumed their stuff, you're starting to get to know them, you're probably going to want to like work with them more. So and like in dating, you spend more time with someone, the more likely they're going to want to be with you because they've gotten to know you. And it's the same thing with your content. You have to like not like spend time with them, but like that warms them to you because they see more stuff to you. So then they're like, I feel more likely to work with this person because, well, I've seen more of their stuff compared to someone who I haven't seen nothing from. So I like to look at it in that way.
I like that. And it really shows as well, because I mean, the results that you've created thanks to having a personal brand. I mean, you closed a 3K client. What kind of work are you doing for them?
Yeah, so I closed a 3K client. I've been working with them for about a month now. And what I'm doing for her is I've written her Facebook ads, right? So before, when she was working with me, she had like, it was just not very good copy. It wasn't doing anything. And then I basically writ her Facebook ads for her. I've written her a whole new landing page. She already had like a really good VSL to webinar to convert those people, but I just writ her ads and her landing page. And it's funny because she's got, is it above a 9% click-through rate, I think, around that, which is pretty good for Facebook ads, I think. And for her landing page, because I writ her that whole thing, she's got over a 43% opt-in rate just from that. And I guess it just goes to show that like copy makes such a difference in the results you get. Because if she had never, because originally she was like less than what, wasn't even getting any people opting in. And so because I redid the whole thing, she's now gone a 43% opt-in, and she's getting like, she's had 700 leads in the span of this whole month. So she wouldn't have had that if I didn't do that copy for her. So yeah.
That's awesome results. Yeah. And
Yeah.
having a 3K retainer when you're, it's hard at the beginning of the game. It's the chicken and egg thing. It's like every single copywriter goes through this experience where you have to break through the initial, like there's like a big wall around our industry. All the big money is inside that wall, and it's almost impossible to get in. And every single year, the wall gets bigger. It's like a castle, and they're like increasing like every year the moat gets bigger. Every year that the walls get taller. Every year that they increase, they add more like fortification. But you can get in if you have a big personal brand, or you can push your way through. A lot of people can get in with email. But one of the things that made a big difference for me is I also have, I have a personal brand. I find that I find that the outreach that I would send, it's like not even as good as some people's outreach, yet it has a 5 to 10 times better response rate, maybe even more, because of who I am.
Yeah, they're more likely to want to.
It's not what you do.
Yeah.
It's who you are.
Yes.
And it's like, it's the same with businesses that people want to get. So like if you're a beginner copywriter and you're looking to get into the industry, from my experience, if this is the first video you're watching, like I've worked with probably over 150 copywriters who make anywhere from $5,000 to $10,000 a month. All the big money is coming from people that have personal brands. Okay, that's where the space is currently going, because people realize like to build trust quickly, you need to have a personal brand. So if you're a copywriter, think about this, and you want to close a client for $3,000 a month like Alicia has, and it's like, well, I don't have how am I going to get a personal brand to work with me? You have to have some sort of like presence so that they look at you and they're like, oh, this person's got a presence just like me. Because think of this, right? If you don't have a presence, or you do have a negative presence, like just photos of you partying or photos of you like being, I don't know, like not a professional in business, they're going to look at that and they're going to say, well, do I really want this person to represent my voice and write my copy? Because, like I've got an audience of 1 million people. I don't really want this stuff to be, I don't want you to be writing my copy, because that's what personal brands do. They're like, who's going to be my copy, my clone, so.
Associations. I was going to add to like, something about, I guess, offers, like when you're in the beginning, as you said, about trust, right? I don't know if you could call it a trust recession, but I've heard from data that we're in a very, trust is at its lowest, skepticism is at its highest ever. Everyone is very skeptical. No one really trusts anyone anymore. I'm not saying no one trusts anyone, but on the internet, definitely. And so It's funny because that 3K client didn't start off as a 3K client. She's only just become a 3K client. And the reason why she's wanting to pay me that kind of money is because I did a free trial kind of pay on results thing, right? So it was, I'm not kidding. I literally, everything that I just said that I wrote for her, the ads, she read that, sorry. The ads, the landing page, I did that all for her for free in the beginning. And to some people that might, seem like, oh my God, you have to do all of that work. And I know you have to spend all of that time, but in the beginning, it's worth it clearly to spend that, because in the beginning, no one trusts you, right? You have to show people that, look, I need you to trust me. And so for me, the way that I've gained that trust with her is because I've done it completely for free for her. I've generated her 32,000 in 1 month. And now she's like, well, I think I can trust you. So I think the free work in the beginning, I don't know if a lot of copywriters know about doing that, but that is a way, it's your ticket in to that, I guess you could say, moat and castle and those.
It's like a Trojan
exactly.
horse. It's like, this is free,
Trojan
go
horse.
in. Yeah.
Exactly, that's it.
Yeah.
Doing free work.
Yeah, it's nice. It is very, I actually got my very first client the same way. So I approached the business and I said to them, I didn't really have a personal brand when I started, but again, it was like 2018. So like nobody really was bombarding businesses with copy, offering copy as much as today. Also, the business wasn't in a very big internet marketing world. So they didn't really get copywriters offering to work with them often. You know, it was very much like one of the first people that had ever heard of like copywriter, dedicated copywriter. They're used to working just with marketers. Like, oh, head of marketing does that. Like, our head of marketing writes our emails. And I'm like, no, I can write it. So anyway, I wrote 10 emails for them for free. And they loved the emails so much, they wanted me to write a sales page for the emails. So I wrote the sales page. Yeah. And I think I wrote a couple more emails. I think so. I don't actually remember the exact project. It was like a landing page and a sales page, but I made $1,500. And I remember that first $1,500 I got, and it was like, I had been working for 6 months or 9 months trying to get into the industry, got no results, finally get this first $1,500. And literally the month after that was like 4,500. And then like a year later, like making 6 figures. And it's like, you just break in. Once you break in, you now have another result. Now you've got all these numbers. I bet you getting the second client's going to be a lot easier, because not only have you got the brand, you've also got results. You've also proven yourself to somebody before. You might even be able to get referrals if she has some good friends, you know?
That's funny.
It's really cool.
It's happening, yeah. So I was going to add another thing about, you said about that client wanted you to write more, right? I actually had another client, and I read their ads, funnel, and VSL, the whole thing. And he asked me to write him more ads for another thing. And so, like you said, they trust you because you've done it for free, and they're like, wow, like you genuinely care, and you want, they've built that trust so quickly. So it's a very, very easy, I guess not easy, but it's a ticket in. So yeah.
I like it. It's like the 3 Ps. It's like personal brand, performance, portfolio.
Yeah.
Boom. That's the starting point. I think a lot of people are going to say, okay, that sounds like a lot of work. I don't know. Is copywriting really like a great opportunity these days? Should I really get into it with all the competition? Is it really this like amazing thing that the gurus say? I'm going to just give one perspective, and then I'd really love to know what you think of this. For me, I would say you have to see copywriting very similar to the way you would see a skill. Just like if you become a plumber, if you become an electrician, if you become a carpenter, if you become a online marketer, like it's not this thing where the gurus make out you're going to make millions of dollars from it. There are people that make millions of dollars from copywriting. Takes a while, but it's not because we have just done copywriting. We also learn how to build a business and hire people. So just like plumbers can become millionaires if they build a plumbing business and they hire junior plumbers, but it's still a skill. Same with electricians. An electrician can start as a junior electrician just working for somebody else, and then later they have their own company and they have 2 or 3 people working with them. So that's been my perspective. I'm curious to know, like, what do you think for people looking to get into the space? Like, is it worth investing time into this?
I think it's so easy for people to get into. And don't get me wrong, like copywriting is easy to get into. It's hard to learn, but it can be very easy to learn if you know what you're doing. In my opinion, I would say it's well worth it. You do have to know what you're doing, obviously, when you're doing copywriting for a business owner, because you can't just be like, hey, I'm going to write words for you and then it's going to magically like make money. But for a lot of people who might think, well, is it worth it? Because you have to do like a lot of writing. And for a lot of people don't really, a lot of people don't like writing, because I used to hate writing so much. I used to really hate copywriting, which is really funny in the beginning when I started. Because when I was in school, I'd have to do English language and literature, and I would, every single time I had an English session, I would be like, no, let's not do this. Let's go do art. Let's not do English language. But you get past that like hard stage. And like, look, I actually love copywriting and I nerd out on it. So, and it's just like, it feels hard in the beginning. Like anything you get into, whether it's like, even if you go and do an agency, you go and do like drop shipping, I don't know, whatever business model you get into, it's every one of them are going to start off really, really hard, right? I'm not saying it's going to be impossible, but they're going to feel hard because you've never done it before. So and for me, right, it was hard in the beginning because I failed a lot. I had to write a lot of ads just to get ones to finally get good at writing ads. But I'm not saying a lot of people will go through that. They might do. But what I'm saying is it's always hard until it's easy. And so it becomes easier the more you do it. So it's not like, should you get into copywriting? Should I go and do different business models? Like all of them work. All of them are good to get into. You kind of just have to pick your own hard, you know? You have to pick your own hard. Dropshipping is going to be hard. Copywriting is going to be hard. SMMA agency is going to be hard. Hoodies are going to be hard. Theme pages are going to be hard. Ping pong tables is going to be hard. But you just have to pick that hard. And I think a lot of people don't look at it that way. And they just think, what's the best one? But they all require learning. They all require the same adaptation, the same personal branding. They all require the same thing. So is it worth it? I think it is. In terms of like saturation, is copywriting saturated? I would say it's saturated with a lot of people, but it's not saturated with a lot of good copywriters. There are more people in copywriting than there are actually good copywriters, right? So it's very hard to find people who can actually write good copy. So if you can be one of those people who are good at copy, then it's not saturated. So that's how I kind of look at it. Yeah. Yeah,
that's true. I mean, there's a copywriter right now that I'm working with that he works with an agency and he probably makes them $500,000 a month with email copy, and they're always looking for copywriters. And it's like, what a joke that all the people that I've worked with that are like doing really well, their clients are always looking for more copywriters and they're just struggling, struggling to find good writers. And it's like, why? Because people are trying to, I don't know, like I guess the gurus out there are positioning copywriting as this shortcut to free money, and it's like, no, it's actually not. Yeah. It's not like it is hard, but everything is hard, like you said, but it does require work. So then I guess the question becomes, if you're a beginner starting today, let's say you were starting again. I mean, I know you've actually mentioned this and you show people how to figure out how to get started. Like, how do you learn copywriting from scratch without spending 10 grand on guru courses? How do you get into this and like actually learn a bit about the skill? Yeah. So if I was trying to learn copywriting and do the business from complete scratch and without paying for some course from some guru or, you know, just any courses at all from anyone or anything, I would 100% do this one thing. And I've taught it to so many people and it's helped them. So in the beginning, when I first learned copywriting, I didn't buy courses. I didn't do any of that. And I got really good at writing oh my God, hold on. I didn't buy any of that, right? But I got really good over time. And it was because of this one little strategy
that I teach.
You're speaking copy right now. Love it. That's one strategy.
It's
subconscious at this point.
It's subconscious, but
love it. Yeah.
What I was going to say is that what I did in the beginning was I thought, well, instead of just buying their courses, why don't I just look at how they write? Because they will only put out their best piece of work, right? So, like, for example, pick a really good marketer, like, I don't know, Sabri Subi, for example. He will only put out copy of his that is like really good. Or any guru that you look up to for any matter, they will not put out shit copy. They will put out good copy. And so everything they teach you, hopefully, they are using in their own copy. And so what you can do is you can use that, take all of their copy for completely free, because people, they're sending emails daily, they're putting out ads daily, they have sales pages running every single day. And what you can do is you can go and analyze their work. And you can, obviously in the beginning, you might not know what you're like looking for. You're probably not going to know what am I supposed to be analyzing in the copy, but just reading it will help you learn what the big marketers do when they go to write copy. And for me, one marketer that I looked up to so much was Sabri Subi, right? I know he has his own branding, marketing style, but I looked at how he wrote copy and I tried to analyze how he did it. And so from that, I did it every single day, just analyzing people's copy and ads. And then subconsciously, you will like start to understand how these people write. Because courses and books and videos on YouTube, I'm not saying they're bad, but they can only teach you so much, right? You can learn more from what's out there, right? There's so much different types of copy on the internet. And so if you're a beginner, just literally go and analyze other people's copy and you will learn so much. So, but yeah, I'm not gonna lie. When you've written copy for a long time, it does become a subconscious language that you just start speaking.
Yeah, so, no, I do that too. I also speak copy, you know, and
speak copy.
Some of the ways I even phrase questions, because I've been coaching for a while now as well as writing. Even the way I speak questions, I'll ask somebody something. You know, wouldn't that be so great? Like, I say it that way. You know, in the past I might have said like, that would be so great. You should do that. And I'd be like, what if you could do that? Wouldn't that be so great? You know, now I start saying it like that. But I think about what you're saying, and it's actually exactly what I did. And I think a lot of other copywriters have done this too. But I can tell you from my experience, like the first 10 emails I wrote for free for that first business I got to, like, you know, I sold the sales page to. Those 10 emails I was following some good marketers back in 2018. And I was signed up to their lists. And what I did was I read all of their emails. And I even looked at the dates that they sent them to look at like the first email that they sent out. And I like looked at like email 1, they sent this, email 2, they sent this. And I combined like maybe 3 or 4 different marketers that I knew were popular, like thought leaders, coaches, because the client I wrote for was a language coach. So I was like, okay, let me write these emails for this language coach. Let me see what other coaches do in their emails. And then I did that. And then I kind of combined what I was learning from these other email lists with my own style. And so my 10 emails, they're still using them today, which is amazing. I'm so happy that they like the copy that much that they tweaked it a little bit to update for like modern, it's like 2024 edition, but it's the same flow, same structure. And it's like, I didn't have any email training. I didn't buy any courses from any, well, actually I did actually buy one coaching program on how to write copy, but it wasn't email related. It was a very different type of writing. It was like business writing. It wasn't really copywriting. That was the previous. So anyway, I did the exact same thing in the beginning. And some of the stuff that I learned in the early days actually ended up being from my clients directly. So when I started learning, like when I started making, I think I was about $5K a month, I had a big client that I was working with, and they had a very experienced copywriter in their team who basically was my senior and I was the junior. And so I learned the 80-20 of copywriting just from them. I didn't actually pay for courses. So I'm in the same boat. I actually didn't learn from courses so much. I think today it is difficult though, because you know, if you don't get in with the right business, because not every business has a good copywriter, you know, that it is difficult, but at the same time, all the best marketers and advertisers, you can learn 90% of the stuff just by looking at how they do things. Like watch what they do, not watch what they say. Just watch what they do. Don't even worry about, let me teach you the secrets to how to sell online. It's like, mate, just read your sales page and I'll just know exactly how you do it, you know?
Yeah.
There is one catch though, and I think a lot of the young guys are like learning from someone like Tate, for example.
Yep.
There's a lot of very extreme personality brands. I don't actually think that learning how to write copy from an extreme personality brand is going to be as effective, because their
Really
voice is
that,
different, right? So it's like you
100%.
learn from Tate. The way Tate sells is not going to work for somebody that like wants to know how to train their dog. If you're writing for a training the dog offer, you're not going to be able to write an email. It's like, you're stupid because your dog, still craps inside the house. Like, it's not going to work on that marketplace.
No, that's not. Yeah. About I want to add to that on the branding side of things. Like you mentioned Andrew Tate. Very, very, very different personal brand, right? And if we link this back to the personal brand of brand voices, I think I used to get this wrong in copywriting as well. When I was first starting copy, it's like, you're going to fail if you don't do this one thing, you will never be good if you do this one thing. And it's like that really negative angle of like Andrew Tate, who he's very aggressive, right? He's like, oh, fuck you, you're a piece of shit kind of thing, right? But I think that is Andrew Tate, but they're missing the fact that they're missing this other thing, right? And it's not being aggressive that like makes your copy good, right? How, you think that copying Andrew Tate's brand voice is going to make me money with my copy, but they miss the fact that gives off a really bad impression in your copywriting, right? Like you said, you're a bad dog owner if your dog craps on the floor. It's like, hold on, no, you have to like, in a way, you have to give off the nice impression. If you meet someone the first time and they're so aggressive, you're going to be like, I don't think I want to listen to you anymore, right? And I know if we're gonna go on the side of marketing in general here, if you look at Alex Hormozi, if you look at Simon Squibb, even Andrew Tate, right? If you take them, the thing they do is being aggressive. That's Andrew Tate. That's not how you connect with people. It's putting yourself in their shoes that makes you aggressive. So for example, understanding where your audience is, right? So for example, Simon Squibb, relatable, raw. He's very like giving. Andrew Tate, right? His beginning story. I ate food from KFC. I struggled. I was basically broke, right? And Alex Hormozi, in the beginning, I slept on a gym floor, and he was living in the hood, and he was very down in life. That hero struggle story. And a lot of people don't realize that it's not being aggressive that makes your copy good. It's being relatable. And it's
I like that.
having your own that brand voice, right? But I know I've gone off a little bit here, but relatability is, but you have to have your own brand voice. It's not about aggressive, like you said.
I think the biggest thing that you have to understand, the reader, right, is like you have to understand that relatability is the reason that people take someone seriously if they feel like they can relate to them. Yeah. And for a lot of young guys, they relate to what Andrew Tate amplifies about what they want for their life. They want to feel independence. They don't want to have to answer to people. He just amplifies that. So if you take that to a niche where it's like women's dating and they're 35-year-old women that are still struggling to get into a long-term relationship, it's not going to work to like shout at them. If you want to really get it, what I would do is I would look at the top 3 to 5 people in the same industry that you're writing for. Look at how they do their marketing. So let's say you want to write copy for somebody that teaches people, how to lose weight. Okay, and it's women that are like postmenopause, and like they're like their hormones are not the same as they were when they were younger. It's like go and find businesses, and you can just pretend that you're that you pretend you're that prospect. Like, hey, how do I lose weight? I'm 50 and I'm struggling, and you see what people actually do marketing. Like put a VPN for the US. You can get US ads, and it's like see what they're saying, because then you're going to see like what the market responds to. Because the people that are doing ads, they're actually making money. Otherwise, they wouldn't be able to afford ads. So you see what the market's responding to positively, and then you can use that as reference. I mean, people like Tate, Tate is attracting a certain crowd. Wes Watson, I like to call him Where's Watson because I think he's a bit of a clown. But Wes Watson is kind of trying to target the same kind of guys. And there's a couple other people like that, and you see that their personalities are kind of like similar because they're targeting the same sort of psychographic.
Yeah.
So every industry's got that, and that'll save you a lot of time because you don't have to try and memorize and study all these marketing tactics. It's like just look at how the best in every industry talks to their market, and you start from there.
Yeah, I want to add something onto the branding voice. I think another thing I got, you said about having that brand voice has to fit the audience. Otherwise, it's just not like, it's not going to resonate with them. So for me, I think I used to fall into the trap of making every single piece of copy that I wrote funny, right? If you look at Sabri, he's like outlandishly really funny, right?
Yeah.
And I think, or just any copy in general, I thought that copywriting was just being really funny, and that's how you get people to read your copy, right? And I think a lot of people think that as well, because I've read a lot of copy that's like, hey there, cowboy, listen up kind of thing. And it's like, buckle up, ready for the ride kind of thing. And it's like, that's not copywriting. And I think, like you said, it has to fit the audience that you're talking to. For example, my audience on YouTube is majority Gen Z and maybe older. But so I have to speak in that tone, right? I had to speak in their tone. So for example, like you said about the women, like my client, you have to speak in a very soft brand voice, a very friendly tone, right? It's not like aggressive, like you said. So depending on who you're going for. But relatability, in my opinion, is the key to all of it.
Yeah. If they feel like you understand their problems just as well as, or even better than themselves, then they're going to trust you and they're going to listen to your message, you know? So
exactly.
That's why relatability is the secret to good writing. So there's another thing in that. It's like, it's not really about the writing. It's a little bit more about understanding people. It's not actually, the copywriting is I don't know if it's the right word. Like copywriting, what is it? Is it writing? Is it writing? Or is it just talking to people where they're at and showing them a better way? I don't feel like it's writing.
Yeah,
a lot of it's just communication to people. Like,
exactly.
I am a 30-year-old guy that's overweight when I talk to 30-year-old guys that's overweight. Or maybe I'm a 39-year-old, 40-year-old guy that was a 30-year-old overweight guy. Like, you know, I'm talking to my younger self, helping that person, you know, or something like that, right? Interesting. All right, so as things go, we had a little tech issue, so we're back. And for everybody that's listening, let's have a quick recap. Let's talk about a couple of things. So we talked about how to get started, looking at some top competitors or top businesses in the industry that you want to write in. The other thing is build a awareness for yourself online, like a presence online, like a personal brand. What else did we talk about? We talked about like how to offer clients a deal, like relatability. Yeah, we talked about quite a lot of things already. I wanted to ask you, how do you break down copy once you're already like, let's say I've got 3 or 4 brands. I'm like looking at for inspiration. They're talking to my marketplace. I want to write copy for somebody. How do I actually go ahead and break down piece by piece? Because copy is pieces, right? It's like blocks. How do you go ahead and do that part?
So when I was first writing copy, I would sit there, right, with my laptop, and I'd be like, what do I write? Like, I've got a blank screen. I need to write some words, but how do I write it? How do I start writing? So over time, I've developed a process of how I basically write copy, and I like to look at it in building blocks, right? I do have some stuff that I do to prepare for those building blocks. I'll break that down in a second, but I first understand, like, let's say it's an email. What's the idea? Like, what is the main idea? What are we trying to talk about? The big idea we're trying to get them to believe. What is it, right? And so I figured that out first. Then I understand who I'm writing to. So just so you know, like, I always figure out who am I writing to and what am I writing about before I start writing, to give myself clarity. So then I'm like, who is this? What's the problems? What's the desire? Are they emotional? Are they more logical? Do I need to tell a story? Is it more direct? Is it more indirect? How long is it going to be? Those kind of things. And then I obviously think about, okay, I kind of want to start talking about this, and then I'll write that down as like a little note for myself. And then what I'll do is I'll write down my structure, which I like to break down as, might be weird, as Legos, right? Little Lego blocks, okay? So, for example, you might write your hook, right? You might write your little hook. whatever it is, your pains and intro, and then you might start talking about pains, right? And what I do is I write them down individually. So you got the structure, and then you put it together, and then you won't put it all together yet, but you write down the stuff for it. So it's like, if you're XYZ person looking to do XYZ, but you're struggling with this, then here's a new way. And then there's like, but first let me explain this, and you've got problems. And then obviously you go into, oh, well, I'm going to show you this system, right? That's your next building block. And then maybe you're going to break down the system. And then maybe at the end, you're going to wrap it up with your urgency and call to action. And then what you do is you just glue together that whole building block with, you make it flow, you add your you add in some stuff and you proofread it, and then what I do is I then gloss it off with like a little checklist, a copywriting checklist. Does it meet the criteria? And then I proofread for mistakes. But I always break it down before I start writing, because as you said, copywriting is building blocks. It's not just write words. You have to, it's built together. And the way I look at it like that, it makes writing copy feel so much more easier, because in the beginning, I have more clarity on what I want to write about, and then I have more clarity on how I'm going to structure it. And then I'll write a general idea of what I want to include in each building block. And then and through that process, that system, I guess, you'll be able to write copy. And I guess putting words on the actual screen, because I know a lot of people struggle with that. It's just, that comes with time, but there's no right way to write copy, in my opinion. It's just however it goes. You do your process, but that's how I basically think about when I'm writing copy.
I like that. I give people this exercise sometimes when they struggle with writer's block. I tell them to take their backspace off their mechanical keyboard or whatever their keyboard is. And I say, okay, you got no backspace. Just you have to write. So you can't fix typos, you can't fix copy, you can't go and edit while you're writing. Have the thing you want to say, just keep typing. Just type it all out.
Yeah.
And then later, so like maybe one thing I used to do with email copy is I would do what actually is very similar, like block by block. So like for me, my main one is like having so hook, obviously, then intriguing lead, something like interesting that sucks them in, then a bit of context to like build on what I've said, make it about them. So like hook, intriguing lead, context, build the desire, or increase the desire of why they should read. And then I move into maybe like promise I have something to share with you, and then share it with them, and then maybe add some bullets or whatever, and then close. So that might sound like, for example, in the context of copywriting, it's like, hey, if you're a new copywriter and you're like, let's say we were writing the piece of copy for this interview. It's like, hey, you're a new copywriter and you want to get started, but you don't want to spend thousands of dollars on courses. You don't really know how to write copy yet, and you don't even know where to start. I've got something for you today. In the next 10 minutes, I'm going to show you exactly how to whatever. And then here's the link, check it out. Here's what you might learn, check it out again.
Yeah.
And then close. So like there's blocks. So if you're struggling and you're writing something from scratch, you put that structure in, right? And then you just type in it without backspace. You might actually find yourself writing a lot quicker. But a lot of people get stuck with the writing process because they're like looking at their copy as they're writing it, and it's not good. And they're like, oh, this sucks. This is so bad. It's like, yeah, my first draft sucks too. Like my first writing doesn't look good. I always edit it better. That's the cool thing about copywriting, is that you don't have to, your first work, it's not like music where like if you're playing a piece of music, it has to sound good when you play it. With copy, you can like write it badly and then edit it better later. You don't have to do it correctly the first time.
Yeah. Same thing with me. Like the reason why I avoided copy for so much in the beginning was because I was struggling to put words on the screen. And like you said, like you just have to start writing, whether it's right, whether it's wrong, whether you think it sucks, or whether you think it's okay, or whatever it is. Like, as you just said, you will find your flow as you start writing. Because I think the thing for me is getting those first few lines down is the hardest, but it becomes easy the more you start writing. So it's just like you just have to push through that uncomfortable feeling of just getting it on the paper or the doc or whatever. And then eventually, as you're writing that copy, you will start thinking, oh, well, I want to change that, like you just said. Then you can start going over it. But you get that initial first draft, just like you said. So it's really good.
That's cool. I like the Lego block analogy. I have that for sequences. So like when I'm constructing a sequence of emails to sell something, the first 10 emails, it's like, okay, email 1 is block 1, email 2 is block 2, but like the whole sales message is 10 emails. So I think email is a good place to start for people if they don't really know how to write copy, because email copy translates to every other type of copy. But it also translates to like stuff that's not necessarily copy in the original sense, like video content. Like video ads is actually copy too. So for a lot of people that look at this, you might think copy is just a Google Doc or like an email or an ad, but most videos these days are also written with copy scripts, right? I think we were going to talk about that a little bit. Like I was really wanting to know how you went ahead and created all these pieces of content to share with people, because we talked about personal brand. And so I think a lot of copywriters are like, well, I don't know if I want to get on camera and jump on YouTube, but you don't have to necessarily jump on YouTube. I didn't build a YouTube presence first. I built a presence on Facebook. And other copywriters, they built a presence on Instagram. So like, what are some of the things that you can do to build that presence in the early days, even when you don't know what to share with people?
Yeah. Okay. So, I mean, building a personal brand, of course, is very important. But how do you start? What do you do? What ideas? What do you talk about? So, it doesn't matter on the platform, as long as it's either YouTube or Instagram, wherever the people are, you go there. So it's obviously going to be Instagram, or if it's Facebook, because a lot of people are on there as well, and YouTube. But for me, I specifically chose YouTube because it's more longer form content. So if any like client was to come onto my profile, they would have more time to look at me. So you don't necessarily have to choose YouTube. You can also just do Instagram because it's content. Because clients probably won't look that deep into you. But what do you talk about? Like for me, I think as a copywriter, I talk more about like what I've learned. Stuff I've done, stuff I've learned, stuff I've read in books, stuff I've seen, stuff I've analyzed, and I talk all about the stuff that I do when I write copy, and whether it's right or whether it's wrong, it doesn't really matter. Like you said, it's content, and it's gonna warm the people up. So I guess for anyone who's trying to start a personal brand, I think the best place to look is like, what have you learned about copywriting? Or if you haven't learned that much about copywriting, what have you read in a book? Or what have you learned from someone? Or can you break down someone's sales page? Or can you break down someone's ad? Or what's your thoughts on copywriting? And just think about what you've learned rather than just kind of come up with some random ideas. So you can talk about all of that. And you can, a lot of people are scared to be on camera. Like for me, when I first started the personal brand, I was never like this. Like I wouldn't be able to film anything like this. I was genuinely very insecure about myself. Like I couldn't be near a camera and be fine with it. I would freak out and just go the other way and be like, leave me alone. Don't get that camera away from me, right? I would be very like, no. And a lot of people experience that as well. But the thing is that I thought to myself that if I want to actually have a successful business and I want to actually be successful, make a lot of money, then I'm going to have to do this. Like you can have faceless, but for a client to really trust who you are, I would say show yourself. But I got past that fear of being on camera by just being on camera. Like it sounds so easy said than done, but that is the reality of it really. And I had to face that as someone who was insecure myself, and now I'm fine with it. So yeah.
Yeah, no, I felt that. I didn't really like camera for years. I remember my first post on Facebook was a photo of the beach, because I thought, well, the beach is nice. I'll take a photo of the beach instead of me. so I started there.
Yeah.
And I started posting more. And after about maybe 2 months, I kind of lost momentum. And there was someone following me, and they were like, hey, I didn't see your post for a week. I was really enjoying what you had to say. I was enjoying your journey. And that person for the first year was my motivation and inspiration to keep going, because I was like, oh, people actually have appreciated the content, So would it be fair to say, for someone that starts, it's like, what do I post about? Share your journey and what you're learning on the way. That's like write it down. Share your journey and what you're learning along the way. And don't worry about being someone you're not. Don't worry about being this expert. Don't worry about being whatever. Just share your journey. Share what you're learning.
That's it. Yeah, and I wanted to add another thing about like the personal branding element. I think a lot of people get personal branding wrong. They see it in the wrong light. They think personal branding is just pictures of myself looking really serious and, you know, eating some food at a restaurant, showing off watches, going on holiday. And that's not personal branding, right? It's not posting yourself mewing or whatever, because I see that all the time. It's none of that, right? It's none of that. And thing is, you're not trying to impress women, you're trying to impress clients. You're not trying to attract the partner, you are attracting clients. This is a very different ballgame, right? So when you're making content for your personal brand, it's not about like any of that. You have to show your expertise, because your clients don't care about the holiday you went on. They don't care about the food you ate last week. They don't care about your mewing and how nice your jawline is. They care about, can you write copy and can you get results with copy and can I trust you? And that is it. And so that's all they want to know, which is a good thing.
Yeah, I kind of like seeing Rolexes on my news feed from copywriters, but I would prefer to hear them talk about how to, you know, their journey for a client, like something they did for a client, what they were learning, and how that's helped them. You know, I mean, I like the Rolex too, though. I'm not going to complain, but there's a lot of people that just post photos of eating food and actually with the young guys, particularly the people that have followed some of the big people like Iman and Tate, like they're like the role models. They always have such a very serious profile picture. Like if you have a serious profile picture, please fix it. Don't look like this on camera. Like their photos like this.
Yeah.
And it's like, why do you look so scary, man? like you're supposed to you want to hire, a client's going to hire you and you look like a gang member, bro. Like
you're going to detract people. Yeah. Like if you look at my profile picture, it's very just like, it shows you're warm, isn't it? Like people don't want to buy from people that, you know, come across as incredibly like serious and angry. It's like, I'm warm, I'm friendly, like come and talk to me, you know?
This goes back to what we were talking about, where it's like people follow someone like Tate and then they think that's what marketing is. And it's like, it's not what marketing is. It's his market likes that, but you're not, your client, I sure as hope that your clients are not 18-year-olds, you know, that are buying copy from you, copy services. I want to write for people that are making millions of dollars and they're in their 30s or 40s already. I don't want to, you know, write copy for an 18-year-old. So if you want to write copy exactly. for a 40-year-old, it's like, who are the 40-year-olds, you know, listening to, and what kind of language do they speak? Like, spend more time around them. It's very interesting. What would you say to someone getting started that is like the mindset aspect of this game? Like, what am I in for if I'm getting started today? Like, what kind of mindset do I need to have to make this work?
As a copywriter, the mindset is very important for me. So obviously you have to have, there's two aspects of the mindset. There's the copywriting mindset and just the general person mindset, right? But the mindset, the three things that you need to have as, if you want to have a really good mindset as a copywriter, the first thing is you need to I guess you need to be adaptable, right? I don't know if that links to the mindset, but you need to, as well. Yeah, you need to like adapt, because for example, you might write copy for a 40-year-old audience, but then again, you might go and write copy for a 20-year-old audience, and you have to adapt your own copywriting skills to that specific audience. So for example, I have an audience of mainly generally like younger audience. So I will write very Gen Z language, but like, to an older audience, you're gonna write very, very differently. So being adaptable, not just to the brand voice and the stuff you're writing, but also the trends that's going on in the marketing space in general. So as I was gonna say that marketing. Yeah, so is it, do you have to be more relatable? Do you have to be more longer with your copy? Do you have to be more direct, indirect, depending on like the sophistication and stuff of the market? You need to think about that as well. So that's adaptability. In terms of mindset, you have to be very determined and disciplined in writing copy, because writing copy, it's just like being consistent in working out. Eating a diet that's very healthy for you. You have to consistently be disciplined in writing copy. So seeing it in that way as well. So writing copy every single day consistently. Another thing I was going to say was Yeah. You have to have conviction in your own copy, that you believe you can write good copy. And that comes with time, obviously. Like, you will become more confident over time by writing a lot of copy. But having conviction in what you do will rub off on your clients. So, for example, if you're really passionate about copywriting and marketing, and you know that what you do can get results, and you really want to help you with copy, then that's going to rub off, and they're going to think, well, this person's taking copy seriously. So being convicted is another thing. But yeah, definitely adaptable. And especially when you write copy and it doesn't work, you then have to adapt yourself again. Because I had an experience with a client a while back, and I wrote ads for him, I wrote a whole VSL for him, I wrote a whole landing page, and I thought it was going to do like really, really well. And then I put it out and it didn't really do as well as expected. And he wasn't getting the right people, and he was a little bit upset. He was like, well, this is a bit wrong. And I thought to myself, I looked back and I thought, yeah, no, there's something going wrong, and I was missing, and it was the audience. And so I had to be adaptable to that situation and adapt my copy. And obviously he generated way more results. Like, he was booking calls from that whole thing that I'd written him, booking way more calls every single day. But that's because I adapted the whole thing. And so you have to, it's not just you write copy once for a client, you might write it like again and test it again. And so being adaptable is another thing.
Right, you got to drop that ego when you're writing for those people, right? Because it's like, if it didn't work, it might hurt you a little bit at first. It's like, oh, I thought my copy was amazing, it didn't work. It's like, no, like, drop the, like, where can you improve it, right?
Yeah. You have to, like, if a client doesn't like it, or if you didn't get results for a client, don't think, well, I read it's fine. But like, you have to think like, no, I need to change this now, and I need to make sure that it's gonna work. So yeah, those are the three things I would say in terms of like thinking of copywriting.
I really love that. Yeah, that's good. The discipline's essential as well. There was a copywriter that I was coaching recently, and they were asking me about outreach, and they were like, how do I send the best outreach email? Because they're like quite new to the space, and how do I send the best outreach? Like, what kind of outreach? And I just said to them, well, you don't have any personal brand. No one knows you exist. Okay, so like, even if people do, if you send the email, even if you send the best email in the world, people are going to do research on you, because they always do, and they're not going to see you even exist on social media. So that's the first thing. And the second thing is, I've like had a look at a little bit of your copy, and I think it could be a lot better. And yeah, look, I'm always very, optimistic and positive about like the potential of copywriters, but especially I'm a little bit careful in the early days with a copywriter, because a lot of people say they want to do copywriting and then they don't actually follow through. And this person hasn't really followed through on, just wants to outreach, doesn't really want to follow through with all the other stuff. And it's like, well, you might be stuck for 6 to 12 more months, and maybe you don't even want to do copywriting, and then you think copywriting's not for you. You need the discipline.
Exactly. I was going to say, just to add to that, is that I think a lot of people think that the whole business is, you just need to focus on getting clients. Like, it's not, you don't just need to focus on getting clients, because the scary thing for me was, this was a huge realization, was when you actually get the client, you have to do the work, right? It doesn't, like, you've got them now, you have to start writing copy. And if you've never learned copy in your life, you're like, well, shit, I'm just going to lose this client now because I don't know how to write copy. So like you said, you have to be disciplined in learning it and not just getting clients as well.
Yeah, it's good. This is good. I feel like this call that we've had is the ultimate, course for beginners. They don't have to pay for, basically. It's like, if you go through this, you'll know 80-20, the 80% that matters on exactly how to get started. And if people want to learn more and want to learn how to succeed as a copywriter, like, where can they find you? Where can they find you on social media or like follow you?
Yeah, so I'm on Instagram and I'm on YouTube. So if you was to type in my handle on YouTube, it would be @_Alicia, I think in all caps. But you would find me on all my copywriting content, literally everything that a beginner would need from what I've learned as a beginner and struggled myself. I just push out content that teaches you guys to get up with copywriting and learn exactly what you need to do. And on Instagram as well, I share mini bite-sized tips and tricks that you guys can all take. So I'm on there as well. You just have to type in my name, Alicia Joseph, and you're good to go.
Okay. Yeah, Alicia Joseph. I'll add it to the description. Thanks so much for your time today.
Yeah.
That was a great call.
Yeah, you too. That was amazing. Yeah.